So President Biden is defending his decision to provide those controversial cluster bombs to Ukraine as leaders there are asking for patience in the slow counteroffensive against its Russian invaders. Our foreign correspondent James Longman has been following all the details surrounding this $800 million weapons package to Ukraine. So James, President Biden still defending his decision here. So tell us more about what we know with regard to how Ukraine plans to use these cluster bombs.
Yeah, Kira, I think Ukraine will take just about any ammunition it can get hold of. And actually, we now understand the Biden administration has admitted as much, that they're only sending these particular munitions because they've run out of other kinds of ammunition. They can't keep up with the demand that Ukraine has made on them. And so these cluster munitions are kind of filling a stopgap. Look, in one sense, they are useful in this particular scenario around the counteroffensive. You've got to remember these positions. You've got Russians who are dug into trenches over wide areas. And so cluster munitions, they explode in the air and these smaller bomblets fall down, kind of the size of tennis balls. And it might be that they're better able to get into these kind of hard to reach positions. But that is the danger of cluster munitions. These small bombs can then just sit on the ground for weeks, for months, for years, essentially creating a minefield. And Kira, it's all about dud rates. It's all around failure rates. Russian cluster munitions can have a failure rate of up to 40%. That means 40% of those little tennis balls, they stay on the ground for years. That is incredibly dangerous, obviously, to civilians. The Americans say they're providing cluster munitions that only have a 2% failure rate, so much, much less. Still, if this war goes on for as long as it might, that is potentially tens of thousands, millions of these tennis ball-like bombs lying all across Ukraine, and the potential for civilian deaths is very high. Kira?
Right, and we'll continue to hear from all the human rights activists as well as this war rages on. Also, James, while we have you, the Kremlin is confirming that Vladimir Putin did indeed meet with Wagner leader Yevgeny Prigozhin not long after his armed revolt. What more are we learning about this meeting?
Yeah, this is totally extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, Wagner Group launched essentially a coup against the military leadership in Moscow. Only lasted a day. Vladimir Putin called them traitors. He felt he was stabbed in the back. And now we know just 5 days later, Yevgeny Prigozhin went to the Kremlin for a meeting face-to-face with Vladimir Putin. We understand there were 35 Wagner commanders there, including Yevgeny Prigozhin. The Kremlin put out this information today. They say this was a meeting that lasted for 3 hours, and that essentially Wagner commanders pledged their loyalty to Vladimir Putin, that they gave an explanation for their actions, and that they were offered, and I thought this was the most interesting part of the quotation, employment options. Quite what they might be, we're not sure. We still don't know where Yevgeny Prigozhin is. He's put out an audio message since that failed coup. Could be in St. Petersburg, maybe in Belarus. We don't know. But this is certainly an effort by Vladimir Putin and the Kremlin to show the world that they're still in charge, however true that might be. Kira?
I have a feeling it's not the last time we're going to hear from the exiled leader, indeed. Also, the NATO summit, James, and the possible future membership of Ukraine. Where do we stand on that at this point?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? The Americans, President Biden is going into this NATO summit reticent to give Ukraine NATO membership. He has said as much. He feels that during a war, you just can't do that. He's worried about nuclear escalation, especially the French leading the charge from the Europeans trying to get Ukraine membership. It might be that they come to some kind of linguistic compromise around how Ukraine can be on the path to membership. There's going to continue to be kind of bilateral agreements of help, military and other resources, other funding. I think there might be some kind of agreement to allow Ukraine to skip the process of the membership action plan, which is kind of the antechamber to full membership. That's what Finland managed to do before it joined earlier this year. It gives Ukraine the sense that membership is on the horizon, but not making any promises. The thing is, Ukraine wants guarantees. It doesn't want what they call assurances. So we'll have to wait and see. Kira?
Our James Longman there for us in Ukraine. James, great to see you. And tonight at 8:30 Eastern, you can join us right here on ABC News Live for our special on the war in Ukraine, 500 Days of War.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.